Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. We are live here in the most expensive city in the United States of America. 1 in 4 New Yorkers are living in poverty. And I am running to be your next mayor to make this city affordable. I will do so by freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, by making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and by delivering universal childcare. And I will pay for this by taxing the 1%, the billionaires and the profitable corporations that Mr. Cuomo cares more about than working-class New Yorkers. I will ask them to pay their fair share so we can have a city that everyone can afford.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that Mr. Trump's Department of Justice can't be trusted, and that was after the news broke of Mr. Cuomo's alleged reported DOJ investigation. First, quickly, just a yes or no answer. Do you think that President Trump is unfairly targeting Mr. Cuomo?
No, I don't think that it's unfair, but I have no interest in believing that they're actually pursuing justice.
Okay. Second part of my question.
And to be clear, it's not unfair because Andrew Cuomo did lie to Congress, but ultimately we know that the Trump Justice Department and the Trump administration as a whole is interested more in vindictiveness and persecution of political enemies than in anything to do with justice.
Okay. So moving forward, you are also a socialist. And because of that, why wouldn't President Trump target you and, by extension, target New Yorkers? You have 1 minute.
President Trump will target whomever is the next mayor of this city. President Trump even targeted his, in many ways, accomplice, Mayor Eric Adams, who has collaborated with the Trump administration at almost every opportunity. And still, in the midst of that collaboration, we saw that New Yorkers are being taken off the streets in their apartment building lobbies. We have $80 million being taken out of our city bank account. So I don't think there's any question that there's any mayor here that will be free from being attacked by Donald Trump. What's more important, however, is that we have a mayor who will actually fight back. And that's what I will do. I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And the difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo is that my campaign is not funded by the very billionaires who put Donald Trump in D.C. I don't have to pick up the phone from Bill Ackman or Ken Langone. I have to pick up the phone for the more than 20,000 New Yorkers who contributed an average donation of about $80 to break fundraising records and put our campaign in second place.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, thank you. Mr. Cuomo, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, please. Mr. Mamdani is very good on Twitter and with videos, but he actually produces nothing for him to accuse me of lying. He also called President Obama a liar and said President Obama was evil. So take everything with a grain of salt. Donald Trump would go through Mr. Mamdani like a hot knife through butter. He's been in government 27 minutes. He passed 3 bills. That's all he's done. He has no experience with Washington, no experience in New York City. He would be Trump's delight.
All right, brief response, Mr. Mamdani, then we have to move on.
Look, it's true that I don't have experience with corrupt Trump billionaires who are funding my campaign. I don't have experience with party politics and insider consultants. I do have experience, however, with winning $450 million in debt relief for thousands of working-class taxi drivers and actually delivering it to the working-class people.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
In my Department of Community Safety, we are going to put together dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers who will be deployed to the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of mental health crises and homelessness. We are actually going to address this in a manner that goes beyond the same ideas that we hear time and time again, recycled by the same politicians like Andrew Cuomo who brought us to this point. And if we care about the police force, then we have to actually listen to police officers. They are leaving this force, 200 of them each month. And when you ask them why, it's because of the forced overtime. And part of the reason that that is taking place is we're asking them to respond to every failure of the social safety net. You know, as a Democrat, one of my regrets is having trusted the leaders within our own party, leaders like Andrew Cuomo, because what we've seen is that kind of leadership has delivered us to this point where we are under attack by an affordability crisis on the inside and a Trump administration on the outside. And Democrats are tired of being told by leaders from the past that we should continue to simply wait our turn. We should continue to simply trust when we know that's the very leadership that got us to this point. We need to turn the page for new leadership to take us out. You know, I find it ridiculous to hear Andrew Cuomo talk about how we need to regulate the apps when this is the very mayoral candidate who has a super PAC that received $1 million from DoorDash. How are you going to regulate DoorDash when they are giving you $1 million to influence your street safety regulations and your labor regulations? This model This economic model is one that doesn't just incentivize e-bike riders to break street safety laws. It often requires
Thank you,
them
Mr.
to do so to make the
Mr. Cuomo,
deliveries
do you
required.
want to?
Our city is under attack by an authoritarian Trump administration, and it is under attack that is now being echoed by Trump's allies right here in New York City. And I say that as someone who would be the first immigrant mayor of the city in generations, someone who just yesterday had a sitting elected official call for me to be deported. This is not an intellectual exercise for the people of New York City. We deserve to have a mayor who is not funded by the same billionaires that put Donald Trump in D.C. We deserve to have a mayor who will actually fight back. And the way that we fight back is ensure that our local institutions continue to provide the services to each and every New Yorker.
But the question is, how can you protect those people? Going to hospitals, how can you protect them?
Here's the thing. The Donald Trump administration will use the fact that they fund 7% of our city budget as leverage over us to try and give up whichever category of New Yorkers they are pursuing in that day. Ultimately, what we need to do is tell those same institutions we will provide them that funding, and we'll get that funding by taxing the 1% and the wealthiest corporations right here in New York State.
You have to fight him, and the way you fight him is not by suing him. Yes, of course you sue him, but he gets sued 10 times before he gets out of bed in the morning, right?
Kind of like you. Our city is under attack by an authoritarian Trump administration, and it is under attack that is now being echoed by Trump's allies right here in New York City. And I say that as someone who would be the first immigrant mayor of the city in generations, someone who just yesterday had a sitting elected official call for me to be deported. This is not an intellectual exercise for the people of New York City. We deserve to have a mayor who is not funded by the same billionaires that put Donald Trump in D.C. We deserve to have a mayor who will actually fight back. And the way that we fight back is ensure that our local institutions continue to provide the services to each and every New Yorker.
But the question is, how can you protect those people? Going to hospitals, how can you protect them?
Here's the thing. The Donald Trump administration will use the fact that they fund 7% of our city budget as leverage over us to try and give up whichever category of New Yorkers they are pursuing in that day. Ultimately, what we need to do is tell those same institutions we will provide them that funding, and we'll get that funding by taxing the 1% and the wealthiest corporations right here in New York State. All of the challenges that we are facing in our city when it comes to our schools, they are also downstream from the fact that 500,000 of our children are going to sleep hungry every single night. 100,000 of them, for the 9th consecutive year, are now homeless. We need to ensure we have a city where our children can not only have food to eat, a place to call their home, and we also have to have the full implementation of class size reduction.
Mr. Tilson, we're going to...
I would have done Eric Adams.
Did he live in New York City to even vote?
He said he would have done. You said you
I think it was about 30 years since he's lived here, right?
Okay.
If you are one of the close to 2.5 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized housing, I will freeze your rent. And I will do that because you have a median household income of $60,000 while your landlord profits have increased by 12%. This is an act that will bring nearly $7 billion back into your pocket and back into the pockets of our local economy. This is what we will do immediately, and we'll do so because the mayor has the power to. Even though there are those like Andrew Cuomo on this stage who will tell you it's unrealistic, we know the previous mayor actually did this 3 times. And on top of this, we're going to build 200,000 truly affordable homes. Homes that are for the New Yorker who has a median household income of $70,000 for a family of 4. We'll do this while taking on the very bad landlords and the real estate developers who are funding Andrew Cuomo's campaign, $2.5 million last time I checked. And we're going to do that because ultimately every single person needs to follow the law, and that includes the landlords who are violating our housing code and have $800 million in fines that the city have yet to actually collect on.
Do you believe that Mr. Khalil should be set free or deported?
He should be set free. He should be at home with his wife, Noor, and their young child. And the fact that he is still in Louisiana is an abomination. It's an attack on our First Amendment. And it is clear, another example of Donald Trump weaponizing the very real issue of anti-Semitism to then throw Palestinian New Yorkers into detention facilities and not even tell us what the crime is that they're charged with.
Here's the question. Is there an area where you would consider replacing city workers with AI if it saves tax dollars? And would you also offer any protections to city workers? You'll have 30 seconds to answer. We'll begin with you, Mr. Mamdani.
Well, I think Andrew Cuomo would tell you that he's already replaced a campaign worker who would have written his housing policy with AI because he had it written by ChatGPT. I can tell you that I'm proud to be endorsed by the labor union representing the largest number of city workers, DC 37. And I'm proud of that because my approach to artificial intelligence will be one where we can find efficiencies in the contracts and consultants that we work with as a city, but we are not going to use this language of artificial intelligence as a justification for further layoffs of city workers.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, time.
Should helicopter traffic be limited?
Yes, we should ban all non-essential helicopter travel. What the governor is speaking about is when we want to fight for working class people, it's considered unrealistic, but when he wants to give Elon Musk a $1 billion tax break, it's totally feasible. What the Daily News found is that this would mean taking a $30 billion budget, increasing it such that we could actually create truly affordable housing.